everyone. If any of you know me, I'm not usually one to give a speech in front of a bunch of people that I don't know, but I do know something about everyone here. We all have feelings, even if that is feeling nothing, and whether we choose to show it or not, we all have some sort of emotion towards things. Because of this, I hope I can give a little bit of insight on how empathy has made an impact on my leadership journey. Today, I'll be talking from two perspectives, one that's internal to everyone and the other is external, so the people around you. I'm doing this because there is no day in my life where I'm not thinking about how I personally am feeling and how the people around me are feeling. With that being said, I hope everyone is doing well today, and if not, that's okay too, because not every day is a good day. I mean, I myself have not determined if I'm excited to be here public speaking or not, so I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm a year one student in our VLA, and it's been a very insightful experience in more ways than just learning how to be a leader. Through our VLA, I have learned more about myself and the things I take into consideration when working with others. For that and many other reasons, I'm so thankful for this opportunity so that I can share my work in progress of who I am as a leader. Every day, I ask myself two questions. The first being, why is it or why can it be so hard to check in on others? While I have a good idea as to why, it doesn't make it any easier. And if you're like me, it can feel awkward to check in on people depending on how close you are to them. But as part of one of my leadership goals, I've worked very hard in the last few months to check in on people regardless of a relationship, and I encourage you to too. You may only get a short answer such as I'm good, but you don't know how much that can mean to them. Just because a person doesn't show they're struggling doesn't mean they aren't. The leadership practice of checking in is something I've adapted from our Leadership Academy ritual. This year, we have learned about putting relationship before task, and we always do a one-word check in and check out at the beginning and end of every session. This helps us meet each other as humans before taking on the day's tasks. It really resonates with me and reminds me how important empathy is to leadership. The second question I ask myself every day is, why is it so hard to ask for help? There are many reasons why a person may choose not to ask for help, especially when it comes to mental health, and so I encourage you to check in on the people who are always okay and happy. I encourage you to check in on the people who you know are having a rough time. I encourage you to check in on everyone, because some don't have the confidence to ask. Others may feel like a burden. Has this ever happened to you? The next may just feel like their problems aren't big enough, and the list goes on, and that's what's so special and yet so complicated about it. Every person is unique, and so there's no one set reason why a person chooses not to ask for help. Then, quite simply, some just don't want the sympathy, which brings me to my next point. Sympathizing and empathizing can be mistaken as the same thing, but are very different. Sympathy is recognizing someone's upset, mad, or frustrated, and doing or saying what is expected in that situation. Empathy is understanding where they're coming from. It's putting yourself in their shoes and understanding why they feel the way they feel. Maybe because you've been in a similar situation, or you're just very good at putting yourself where they are. Something I know about myself is I have a lot of empathy towards other people, and it's something I love, but I've also realized it's just as important to have the same empathy towards myself. I know many people don't give themselves enough credit for everything they've been through because they don't feel like their problems are as big or as significant as someone else's. But your feelings are valid, every single one of them. Someone's always gonna have it worse than you, and someone's always gonna have it better. In reality, whatever you're going through doesn't need to be ranked on a scale. Don't invalidate yourself, surround yourself with people who will support you through anything, big or small. I know everyone here today is here for a reason, and I believe that every one of you has the power to be a leader. And I don't mean by a sense of physical and commanding power, I mean that every one of you has different qualities that would make up a good leader. Leader by textbook definition means the person who leads or commands a group, organization, or country, but that doesn't capture the whole essence. What I've learned this year is everyone can be a leader, you just have to find your way of leading, and finding your values is a good way to start. As you may have guessed, one of mine is empathy. Even as a leader, I make mistakes, and I get scared and upset, etc. But I'm allowed to feel that way, and it doesn't make me any less reliable or any less of a leader. I can feel my feelings, have empathy for myself, and be a better leader for it. Some of you may say that this is a first world problem, but it's not. It's an all-world problem, an everyday problem. Not everyone believes it's okay to show emotion, and some need to be prompted to talk about how they feel. So talk to them, and if they don't want to talk, that's okay too. Just make sure they know you're there for them in the loud and in the silence. As I begin to conclude, I guess you all have a little more insight onto how much my friends hear me talk. My apologies. But if you haven't realized, I haven't mentioned my name to any of you yet, and we actually deliberately left off my title slide that all the other talks have had today. I've made you all listen to my beliefs as a stranger, and I do have a reason for that, and it's not because I'm scared for my social security. It's because the whole point of my message is that you don't need to know a person to have empathy for them. You don't need to know a person to care about what they're saying, and you don't need to know a person to check in on them. An important message should not matter because of the human speaking it. It should matter because it is a human speaking it. My name may not have any significance to you because I'm not a celebrity, but I am a 15-year-old who has learned a lot in this past year, and I truly hope that I, Amber Page, have opened your eyes even just a little bit. I hope to continue to grow and take my learning into post-secondary while I take my psychology degree to become a psychologist. And through leadership, I have become more confident every day that this is something I will be able to achieve. Just as I've achieved presenting the speech, which is not something I would have thought I could do until joining this program, I wouldn't have even attempted it. With that being said, I have one last thing to say. Check in on the people around you, not just the ones you know, because even happy people get sad. Thank you.